Home edition of the Green Room again. We've interviewed this man before. He's decided to come back, which is always a good thing. When people say, Ryan, what is your goal in any interview that you do? I'm like, I want the person to want to come back.
Absolutely.
And Jamie Rowe from Kalamity Kills has come back. So good to see you, sir. How are
you? Good to see you too, my friend. Yeah, guys, if you're watching this, just know that Ryan was one of the first people in radio to jump on Kalamity Kills, and he's still here in 2026. Can't ask for anything better than that. So make sure you always tune in to Ryan.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
That's
so
my
much.
plug.
I
you got
appreciate it. Dude, it's funny because last time we talked, I had like no hair. I just cut it off. Dude, you have hit the gym, and I got any secrets to you going in the gym? Because I gotta find a good routine to get back into. So I need some motivation.
I have a decent muscle tone because I used to lift weights in the around 2014, 2015. But I've not been to a gym in almost 10 years. So you're thinking I'm not done. The thing is, I have lost 100 pounds. And basically what I did was through intermittent fasting. I changed diet. I really didn't exercise, but I did it, and it really flowed off. And I found out, I was getting ready to have sinus surgery because I had these really bad sinus colds that wouldn't go away. Intermittent fasting cleared it all up. So I not only lost weight, but I got a lot healthier. But you know what? And I'm going to be blunt. The reason I got on my weight stuff is we released that song Starry Skies 988 that had Aaron from Under Oath, and it started to get a lot of attention. And I thought, well, more people are probably going to be saying this. I didn't want to be the fat guy in band photos. That's literally was my motivation. And so I literally one day just looked at a picture and was like, I can't do this anymore. So I decided right then I'm going to start fasting, and mostly, I eat one fairly decent meal a day, heavy protein, low carb. And I was really surprised at how little food my body actually needs to function, but it fell off, man. So, but no gym, I do have a home gym that I bought that's sitting in a box downstairs that I've got to assemble. And the only reason I haven't is because I watched a video on it, and this guy who really knows what he's doing, it took him 6 hours. So procrastination. It's the ADHD part of me.
There we go. Dude, congratulations, man. That's
Thank
a
you.
lot. That's a lot of weight to 100 pounds, man. That's a lot to lose.
And I'm envious you can grow hair because I can't anymore. So.
No? Okay. Well, next time I donate it again.
Give me the locks of love. Come on.
We'll send some to Nashville for you. But dude, excited to have you on. We've had you on a bunch of features with different tracks. We've had you, some of our covers weekends. We want to dive into, some of the Aussie stuff that you've done. But the new track, man, the These Days Are Evil.
Yeah.
The music video's out. Obviously I get to, we get music sent to us through certain record folks, so I get to look at a little bit of what the track's about and everything. So tell our audience what you'd like them to know about
man. These Days Are Evil. That's a song I kind of heard written almost 90% of it in the fall of 2024, and it was just me just kind of looking around at the world and just how in real life I can go to the grocery store or go anywhere stuff and people are peaceful and friendly to each other, but I get online and it's like Civil War, World War III with each other, and just the lack of compassion, kindness, and understanding for people just kind of went out the door. And I think the media kind of fuels that in a lot of ways too. For ratings, you will click on a link far faster if it's enraging than you will if it's pleasant news or whatnot. But the song itself musically is just, basic raw rock and roll that I like. But lyrically, I wanted to say something. And it even talks, most people know about, my history and my Christian faith and whatnot. But I see so many Christian folks are are just smug, finger pointing, no compassion or whatnot. And I was like, you know what? We all burn in hell in someone else's religion. Yeah. If you just be glad you weren't born in Pakistan, you may think differently, So I wanted to address all that stuff without coming off as preachy, without coming off not even trying to get people to think instead of telling them what to think. But I love the song, and it's the fastest, like I said, we're 44 on Active Rocket Media Base this week, 2 weeks in. So that's the fastest we've ever had a song climb up. So hopefully people get a chance to hear it. I would be thrilled to death if people got to hear it. So. Yeah.
They'll hear it Friday. We get you in our spotlight this Friday, 8:30, 1:30, 7:30. You're one of the bands we added to New on Q this past weekend. And you mentioned this song, and you and I talked when I Still Believe was the track that you put out. It was the cover, and we went with it. And at the time you're like, man, this started as a solo project. You've got a full band now. So what's these couple years been like? I mean, you put a lot of songs to radio. You've had a lot of songs to the radio. So what have you really enjoyed about this journey, about these, 3-4 years you've kind of been in the public spotlight a little bit more with this band? What have you enjoyed about this journey?
Man, I've enjoyed I love just making the music, and like I said, and radio is key for us. So that's, a lot of bands, like they'll say this is our route where we go. We like radio. That's, we think it's, a great way to reach a lot of people at once. Streaming, it's so cluttered to try to get the streaming crowd. It's like, okay, they'll eventually come on or whatnot, but radio usually is like a lot of times the people in their car and whatnot and stuff, and you have they're only listening and thinking about you while that thing's going on. So we love that, and that's been good for us. But the most enjoyable thing for me is, like I said, I've been in the music business since I was 17, and I'm 55 today. And so the fact that at this age I can still have, songs on the chart and get new fans and, and have a whole new audience, almost like it's not really a legacy audience for Kalamity Kills. And so it's like really cool to see that grow. But man, I just want to make really good music. I don't want to make cookie cutter music. It's, to me, that's something that's a little sad these days. It seems like things start, like song 1 and song 2 sound the same. And I don't want to be a part of that. But really, I guess to get back on track, like I said, I'm ADHD. So to get back on track, the most rewarding thing is that we're continuing to do that. We're continuing to grow. It's a slow build. We're still prying every door open that we can. And, and Jamie Rowe, my musical partner in this, dude, he's my bro. You know what I mean? So it's like, if we stop playing music, he'd still be my bro, but we're not going to stop playing music. Yeah. So, and, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it kind of goes into what I want to talk to you about as well, because we did a little bit last time. I mean, you've worked with Ray from Korn, Ray Luzier of Korn.
Yeah.
Worked with some of the gals in Conquer Divide. Who else do you want to work with? Like, I know you've had members of Three Doors Down you've worked with. I mean, you've worked with a lot of people to sound, I mean, not even, I'm sure going back before Kalamity Kills, but even just, on the debut record, you put on the expanded edition, and there's a lot of features. Aaron from Under Oath,
yes,
you mentioned, but it kind of like, who else is on that wish list?
Man, on my wish list is, I'd love to have Lizzie from Hailstorm on the track, just because, she's local. We've met her a few times and everything like that, and she's always been great. She's a sick talent. I personally would love to have, is it Lejon? Is that how you pronounce his name from Seven Dust? Lejon? Okay, there's a Jean. Okay, I've always seen his name and never heard it pronounced, but I would love to have him on a track. There's plenty of people, I was actually chatting with the guitar player for Skillet last week, and I've known John Cooper, like, since 1995. I would love to have him on a track someday. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people it would just be cool to collaborate with. But if you put a gun in my head and say, right now, who do you want to collaborate? I'd say I'd really love to have Lizzie on a track. Really,
Awesome. And it's cool. You mentioned some of these people. I think 2024 was like a year of collaborations in rock. It was huge. It was all over the place. Like, and you and I talked about some of the behind the scenes stuff in radio. Like, when I'm programming the music, you're like, artist separation. I can't, got to make sure these bands will play. There were so many collaborations. I just said, screw it. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I had it with Sleep Theory the other day, like them and Never Tell and Sleep Theory track. I'm like, again, we got collaborations. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, like, I mean, if you look at the funeral portraits, and some of the guys like that have had some of these features, and it's been cool because I think Sleep Theory is doing it right now with Never Tell. Like, when you can get somebody on a feature, man, dude, it brings so many more ears to what you've done originally.
Having Aaron from Under Oath, and like that, even that weekend when the single came out, even on Spotify, it's got like 50,000 spins on Spotify the first weekend because the Under Oath connection hit all the Spotify Discover Weeklies,
the algorithms and everything. Yeah,
a lot of people like got tuned in to Kalamity Kills because of our affiliation with Aaron on that track, and it's plus it premiered on Octane, so on Test Drive, so the day before it came out, so it was like the timing was like perfect, but. Man, I really think we're in the era of collaborations because it does, like I said, everything's so splintered and there's so much out there. If you have, a friend or something in another band and say, hey, man, this could be cool for both of our audiences. And maybe one artist is a lot bigger. In the case of Under Oath, that was obviously the case. But it's a really cool thing I like. And to me, I love it, especially when the egos just fall apart and they say, hey, I hope their motivations are the fans. If it truly is to do this for the fans and give them something like to wow about, that there's not much cooler things than that. They're really not.
Yeah. And we've had you on with a couple different covers. Obviously, I Still Believe. You
Oh,
covered
yeah.
Ozzy's. You covered Ozzy's I Don't Know.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, we lost Ozzy back in July. He played the final, Back to the Beginning show with Sabbath. We lose him less than 2 weeks later. You put out I Don't Know. What was, for you, and what was the reason for that track? 'Cause obviously, it's a well-known song, but what's the connection for you about
everything you just said plays into it. The Back to the Beginning concert, when Ozzy came out, the first song was I Don't Know. And I was watching it and saw that, and I text Perrin. I was like, dude, I forgot how good of a song this is. We should cover this and everything. And he's like, dude, I love that song. He cut his teeth. He's a Randy Rhoads kid too. You know what I mean? So Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen. And so we decided we're going to do it. And he's like, and some people haven't caught this. It's I Don't Know, but the guitar solo is Flying High Again.
Okay.
It morphs into that and stuff. So it's like the guitar player and the intro is Over the Mountain. So we decided we were going to track it. And so we started getting the ideas, and then Ozzy passed away. Like during the tracking, it was like, we've got to do this. We've got to do this. Cause like I said, Ozzy's a legend. He, look at Ozfest, both he and Sharon, everything they've done for the hard rock community and metal community over the years. And, and it just, I never got a chance to meet the guy, but gosh, he just seemed like a lovable character, just the guy that, the life of the party, no matter where you go, and a real genuine person, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to get onto the actual tracking, I said, let me ask, I know Ray plays with Billy Sheehan quite a bit, from David Lee Roth Band and Mr. Big, and he's like a legendary virtuoso bassist. I said, let me text Ray and see if he wants, ask Ray if he'll play on a track. Ray said, if it's Ozzy, I'm in. That was literally his response. And then I texted him back, I said, hey, what would you think if asking Billy Sheehan to play bass on this as a feature and as a guest? And he writes back, he goes, it's going to cost you an arm or a leg, but it's going to be worth it. And so, and it didn't cost us an arm or a leg. And so, but Billy came in, and he and Perino and Ray, they knocked out the basic track. We already had an established rhythm guitar, and then my lead vocal was already there, but they came in, played drums, and it was almost like semi-recorded live. And I just loved it. And to be honest, I was a little cautious to put it out because, like I said, when I first heard that, I wanted to put it out because I was just so blown away at that concert. I didn't want it to look like, okay, we're trying to attach ourselves to his passing. And so, we really didn't push this song, it's because that we did more like, we didn't want to be those guys. So it lived out there. It's had a slow growth, but dude, I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it turned out great. And Ray gave me a great compliment. He goes, dude, we're listening to playback. He looks at me, he goes, thumbs up. He goes, not many people can pull off Ozzy. He goes, but you've done this justice, and it was cool. He doesn't mean I sound like Ozzy, but I put my heart into it, and it wasn't like, somebody trying to imitate him and whatnot. So anyway, that's the story of the whole song, and it's available, it's out, and I absolutely love it. It was a thrill for me because obviously Ray's become a good friend, but to get Billy Sheehan in there is just like amazing, from a long-term rock fan. And I think we made a pretty good track. And if you haven't heard it, go find it and listen to it. So
go check it out. I know we want to do a covers weekend coming up as well. So I know we'll get it back on. Did we talk about how you met Ray last time? How you guys kind of connected?
Yes and no. I think we did. We think you did, but I can give you a recovery. Yeah. I work for a company called True Tone, and we make the One Spot Pro guitar power supply for guitar pedals. And through that, I'm the multimedia director. And so I was doing an ad for Guitar World, and it was featuring Korn because they use our product. And while I was doing that, I got to know management fairly well, just through email change and everything like that, and exchange. And so we were making the Kills record, and that's on my mind. I was like, gosh, Ray is in that band, and I know he lives here in Nashville. And I didn't know him at all. And so while we're tracking in the studio, Perino's working on some guitar. I'm on my laptop, and I just sent management a thing, hey, I'm also, I know you know me from True Tone, but I'm also a recording artist. And so if Ray is available for any kind of studio work, let me know, because I said, I'd love to have him on the record. And I sent it, and I'm talking to Perino. I said, dude, I just sent this email to Korn management to see if we can get Ray to see if he'd be interested in playing a track or two on the record. And Perino turns away and goes, I used to kind of know Ray back in the day. I was like, what do you mean? Because Perino was the guitar player for Leanne Rimes' band.
Okay.
And they were always in the Dallas Fort Worth area and stuff. And I guess the Nixons were working out of that thing at the same time. Ray was playing in the Nixons, and Scott Bush, his engineer, was also playing in the Nixons. And they used to tease because Parano's got this like curly hair. They used to call him like Kenny G and stuff. It was like friendly razzing and stuff. So Parano texted a mutual friend and said, "Hey, can I get Ray's number?" And he did. And so Parano texted him and he's like, "Dude." Ray's like, "Dude, of course I remember you, blah, blah, blah." And he goes talk about stuff. And so we just basically said, here's the situation. He came in, and dude, I'm telling you, and he's still to this day, Ray Luzier is one of the best people on the planet. It's just a fact. He still treats me like a really good friend. And, even though, he's got a ton of good friends, he and his wife are both just awesome people. But he came in and he didn't just play like a studio guy. He like wanted to hear the song, and like he put himself into it almost like a full band member. And it was really cool. So we originally had him play 2 tracks, and they were so good. It was like, dude, 2 more. So we got him to play on 4 tracks, and he played on singles, and he was supposed to play on Starry Skies that we got Aaron from Under Oath, but he had to go to Europe with Korn, and he couldn't do it. So that's why I think, well, who else do I know? Well, Aaron doesn't live that far from me. So we reached out to him and got him on the track. But Ray played on Afraid. And that's actually the last thing and stuff. And what I love about Ray, though, is Ray's obviously in one of the biggest metal bands in the world. Korn is just huge. But, dude, he will share our stuff on social media. He wears our T-shirts everywhere he goes. Awesome. Like, he sent me all sorts of photos from Europe when he's walking around. He's got his Kill shirt on. And it just means the world to me because it's like, it's like it's almost like he was, like, invested in the band. And sorry about that. He's invested in the band, and he didn't have to be. And to be fair, we've had other people that we've worked with that, came in, got their paycheck, and don't want anything to do with us. That's the percentage of that is 1%. But people like Ray just blew up, and my buddy Ace Von Johnson, people like that are just wonderful people to have. But I could foresee more Ray on some future Kills tracks because it's just like, why not? You know what I mean? Yep. If he's available, and I gotta let the cat out of the bag, dude. I've actually heard the music only of the new Korn record.
So the end of what's been done on analog.
Yes,
because that's been like the snippet. Dude, I can't tell you how many times in the morning show I have discussed Korn and been like, I feel like, I don't know if you're a South Park fan or not, or if
enough. I know. Yes.
Okay, where they make fun of Game of Thrones and they meet up with George R. R. Martin and he's like, the pizzas are on their way. The pizzas are on their way.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm promising you, everybody. I don't know a whole lot, but I do know that Korn did, like, the Korn music is on its way. I'm like, I can't tell you when, but I'm like, there was a photo of Monkey that came up and then got deleted right away. I'm like, this is the next thing that we have. Dude, I'm psyched. As a Korn fan since like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I'm still excited.
Well, here's what I can tell you safely and stuff. I guess obviously I'm not in a position to speak for him or Korn or anybody. But, Ray had it on his phone and he played. He goes, dude, let's check out this tracks. And it was before Jonathan had done any of the vocals or melody on it and stuff. That he goes, that's what they're waiting on at the time. And dude, it was totally, they didn't use click track. If you know anything about recording, it's not like processed or like timing. It's not robotic. Dude, it was organic and it sounded like Korn. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's like, so the identity of Korn comes through. And like I said, I just heard music, no melodies or lyrics. And it was pretty cool. And, and I know they've worked on stuff since then. So maybe even some of the stuff I heard isn't going to make the final cut. But I'm telling you, it was pretty freaking cool. Like, okay, it wasn't like a band like Avenged Sevenfold where they decide we're going to kind of shift gears and kind of almost alienate their crowd. Korn didn't do that. It sounded like real Korn to me, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I hope you're excited about it as I am. So
I am, dude. Like when I found they're going to analog, I was like, and dude, there's always something from every Korn album that I like. It's not like I can look back, I want to be like, I can't stand anything from this. There's always Korn records that I like and everything, something from it. But it's just like there's something about hearing about this is, and again, if it's true or not, they're going the analog route. It's like I think with some of the new Rob Zombie that's out, it reminds me of like White Zombie and some of the early stuff. And I feel like bands go out and they experiment. It's cool, but when you kind of get some stuff back that reminds you of like, man, this is what first got me into this group. This is awesome. That's what I'm excited about with Korn.
I feel safe saying that's going to hit your sweet spot from what I heard.
All right.
But like I said, Ray's just playing on his phone, so it's like I'm not hearing like headphones or anything. But it was cool, and I don't tell like I said, I don't tell anything more about, or try to be one of those guys that acts like I have insider knowledge. Just Ray was really cool and just played it for us, and both me and Parano, we were like, wow, and it was Chris Collier was tracking this stuff at the time. And he was just saying that instead of a click track, Collier was just in the room with him, like rocking back and forth. He was the metronome, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And it was really exciting. So I don't know, what the current plan and stuff like that, but I guarantee you they're going to come out with a slamming record. Guarantee it.
Looking forward to it. So what are you doing when it comes to new music? Obviously, we had Afraid. We had the expanded edition of the self-titled record. We've got These Days Are Evil. What do you want to do, Jamie?
Well, we've got right now, things we got in the works. We actually, at the same time we recorded Evil, we recorded another song. And we're actually finalizing the mix of that. It's ready to go. We're just a matter of where to go. But we also, just for fun, recorded some covers live in the studio. And we released one of them. It was a Beatles song called Help by the Beatles. We put out in like November or December. I can't remember. Just for fun. And mostly we put that through Spotify, but it was mostly we just wanted to set up a camera, film ourselves, put it on YouTube, play some covers, let people know we're active. But we did Help and we did Paperback Writer from the Beatles. And then I'm a Kiss nut, so growing up, that was my jam. So we did Love Gun,
nice,
and we did Shock Me too as a tribute to Ace, who is obviously passed too. But it's like I don't know when those will come out, but they're really fun and really cool. It's like, and for me, like I'm 9 years old when I'm singing a Kiss song. So yeah.
Awesome. We're going to follow Jamie. Like I said, man, we got you Art Spotlight on Friday. New on Q, you're going to be on there for a while. We're going to keep spinning you on there, and Kalamity and stay up to date. And so if anybody wants shows you guys are doing, new music, if you can break any news from Korn, if they're like, go ahead and put this on your socials as well. Where can everybody follow you guys, website, all that stuff to stay up to date with what you're doing?
I'm just saying, I think if you check out Calamity Kills, which I really hope you will, and appreciate you, Ryan, for always giving us some love on the station and whatnot. But our socials are Calamity Kills, and it's with a K. CalamityKills.com. We're on Instagram. I'm really active. My personal socials, I'm always really active, and that's Jamie Rowe on Instagram and Facebook. But man, I love to talk to people who have given our music a chance. So I live a life of gratitude, and I'm very grateful for it. And if you haven't heard of us, you're going to. That's it.
Jamie, looking forward to everything, man. Thank you for coming on again. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you for your time.
Ryan is good people, folks. You need to know this. So
thanks, bud. Appreciate it.